2005 marked the year of Proclamation, a son of King's Best. The previous autumn, Proclamation had quietly announced himself as a horse with a future. He would confirm that impression by developing into a very smart performer between 7 furlongs and a mile.
And they're racing.
I like Proclamation, and I remember just being totally convinced that he was going to go and win the Jersey, and Johnny Murtagh rode him, drawn 22, right on the outside of his field at York, which is an awful hard draw to win from, and tucked him in towards the outside, ran wide the whole way, pulled him to the outside and ran past the whole field in the last 2 furlongs to win impressively.
Proclamation, what a performance is. Drawn 20, come from near last and careering away for Johnny Murtagh. It's Proclamation about 2 or 3 in front and wins the Jersey like a good thing.
You know, and then on that day confirmed to me that, you know, he was the real thing. And then we had the huge day when he won the Sussex, which I felt was a great performance by the horse. Once again, settled in rear, given a beautiful ride by McCann, swept by his field, actually got there too soon, but it was an absolute devastating turn of foot.
It's Proclamation, though, kept going by McCann. Proclamation's going to win the Sussex.
I feel he was a horse in his year that never got the credit that he quite deserved. The Jersey and the Sussex were 2 very, very special performances, and he was a really very, very talented horse. Saludamore had won a maiden up at Hamilton. Kieran then proceeded to give her a most sparkling ride to win the National Stakes, and was a good result in that Michael Tabor had been a big supporter for a long time. And I don't think since Calypso Katie not had a huge amount of luck for him, so I was delighted to see her win. And then she went on and was you know, very good, tough, honest filly who was group placed on a number of occasions that year. Second in, should have won the Cherry Hinton, second in the Cherry Hinton, second in the Queen Mary. She was a tough, honest filly and was a good servant through that season. The Chunga, yes, a winner at York for Sir Robert Ogden, and a pretty amazing story in that Sir Robert had come to me and said we need to have representation at Royal Ascot because it's at York that year.
I said, look, we need a horse that's going to win for us at Royal Ascot at York, my home racecourse. So it was up to Jeremy to come up with how we were going to do that. And sure enough, he went to America. I didn't go with him on this occasion.
We went off to Calder, Jamie McCalmont and myself, and we bought 2 fillies that year with the plan to get them to Royal Ascot, and we got the Chunga to Royal Ascot and won the Albany.
But La Chunga is spread eagle the field. La Chunga's going to win the Albany Stakes.
I mean, to get a horse, prepared it, and win on the day for a race that you said I want to win the year before is quite a feat of engineering. And then to follow it up the following year, buying at the same sale Santa Camilla and doing the same thing again. Then nearly doing it the 3rd time with, again, breeze up horses from the same sale. You know, a marvellous feat, you know, all down to Jeremy.
We went back to Calder that year to buy Sir Robert a couple of fillies again and came up with Santa Camillo. As seems usual with my 2-year-olds, I trained for Sir Robert, got beaten first time out, but then won the Albany second time out, you know, impressively.
But streaking away as they run to the line is Santa Camillo, backed as if there was no settling, and a winner on the board for Frankie Dettori.
Having won the Albany at Royal Ascot and won it well, decided to head to the Cherry Hinton. She trained beautifully going into the race, had great belief in her, and on the day she put up the performance which, you know, actually showed on the racecourse the level of ability she'd shown us at home. And she jumped out of the stalls, she had a field in trouble at halfway, and then effortlessly pulled clear inside the final 2 furlongs to win very comfortably.
But Santa Camillo has run away with the Cherry Hinton. What a good filly.
It was amazing because she was my only Royal Ascot winner that year, so she produced a great performance, won by 5 lengths, and at the time she was by far the best filly in Europe.
It was a good day, great performance by the filly, and just sadly we never had conditions in our favour for the rest of the season and couldn't get her back on track at 2, which was a big disappointment. You know, in those 2 performances in the Albany and especially the Cherry Hinton, you know, she showed herself to be a very special 2-year-old filly.
Arafa, a solid performer as a 2-year-old, he'd won first time out and been placed in the Acomb, really started to catch the trainer's eye early in 2006.
He improved dramatically through the winter, and then when he started working in the spring, Shane Kelly was riding him work, and you know, did a few bits of work which visually to the eye were impressive, and Shane assured me that we had a potential Guineas horse on our hand.
in April, he thought he's a Guineas horse. And he had his plan to run him the free handicap. And then a temperature came and, cut his preparation. And he had still, Jeremy believed in him and went straight to the Guineas.
Possibly needed the race, especially having only 2.5 weeks before, or 3 weeks before, had a temperature and he had to miss a week. But he ran a huge race to be fourth, showed a lot of promise. Went on to Ireland, felt we had nothing to lose taking on George Washington. If we finished second to him, great. If we beat him, then even better, but there was nothing to lose. And he was always a horse who was better suited by cutting the ground. And thankfully on the day, it was very, very soft ground, conditions in which he actually revelled. Alan Munro gave him a beautiful ride and travelled smoothly through the race, and from 3 out never looked like getting beaten, and it was a good day.
As they race towards the line, Arafa has it. Arafa's out in front and going to the line. Arafa's going to win it by a couple of lengths.
This one was the first Group 1 and Classic that I won, and it's unbelievable because I won't forget that day all my life. I know I won the Derby this year and it's a great thing, but still that day I'll never forget it because it's something unbelievable. I cannot describe to you how good it was. I really thank Jeremy.
First Classic in Ireland, and it seemed like I've been waiting for it for a bloody long time, but it came and it arrived, and that was a great day. Arafa was a very good horse in his own right, and he showed that in his performance at Royal Ascot, where he destroyed his field into St James's Palace.
But a furlong to go. It's the Irish 2,000 Guineas winner Arafa. He's 4 in front. Stormy River emerging from the pack, but all too late. And Arafa is going to romp home with the St James's Palace. Wins it by 2.5.
He was a top-class miler, but the thing that really turned him from just being a good Group 1 horse into a very good Group 1 horse was soft ground. First day, St James's Palace, which is always a special race. First day at New Royal Ascot, opening up New Royal Ascot, and gave us the yard and myself 2 big days that year, which we really enjoyed.
Jeremy's second Classic winner was not long in coming. A handsome son of Galileo owned by Paul Roy, 60s Icon didn't run at 2. He'd caught the bug that had plagued the yard at the end of 2005. In 2006, on only his 3rd start, 60s Icon ran a promising 7th in the Derby, beaten just 3.5 lengths. The experience would have a positive effect. From Epsom, 60s Icon went on to the Royal Meeting to contest the Group 2 King Edward VII Stakes. On very quick ground, he produced a taking performance.
Yeah, 60s. It was my fault that he got beaten at Royal Ascot. Didn't finish much closer to them. I told Shane whatever on that ground to look after him, and he dropped him out and he got a little bit too far behind. But he ran a solid race. From then on, pretty much our eyes were set on the St Leger.
The plan was to go to Goodwood and run in the Gordon Stakes. He improved a fair bit during the summer, and we were confident when we went in the Gordon Stakes, and fortunately he won it very easily, went very well, and ended up as favourite for the St Leger.
And it's all 60s Icon. Comes away, a stylish win here.
Well, he was favourite for a long time. Just the day seemed to just be such a long day, because Jeremy was in America and we'd arranged for his mother and father to come, and Paul and Susan Roy had their family there, Sarah and Sean, his good friends Andy Stewart, and John Warren was there that bought him, the breeders were there. So I was like, oh, everything seems to be either set for to be big celebrations, or it's going to be a huge disaster.
60s Icon, I won on him at Goodwood in his prep race. I really liked the way that he felt. And at the time I was on Red Rocks, so I decided to jump ship and told Jeremy that I thought his horse would win.
And they're off, racing in the Ladbroke St Leger, the final Classic of 2006. But look to the left, 60s Icon is still full of running. They head down to the final furlong.
And they just travelled so good, and it was just a matter of pressing the button. I don't think I won a Classic that easy.
And 60s Icon quickens up willingly, and he's soon clear. A 4th Leger for Frankie Dettori. Favourite wins. 60s Icon lands the Leger.
Quite amusingly, after the race, Frankie Dettori said to me, "Hey, Paul, how do you feel?" And I said, well, not. He said, "I know how you feel. You feel nothing." And I guess that's how I did feel. I felt completely numb afterwards.
I was just relieved. I mean, really, I know Jeremy expected it, but, you know, Paul Roy, just seeing how happy the whole, everybody was, they were just so thrilled, and it was just great for Paul, really, and Jeremy, I was just so chuffed.
Well, the most important thing, of course, is Jeremy wasn't there, which is sort of fairly typical, because being the workaholic that he is, rather than sort of basking in the glory of the great day, there he was in America at sales, inevitably thinking about the following year rather than this year, or even a classic race. Quite frankly, it's much nicer having Sally rather than Jeremy with me when I go racing anyway, so Sally was there, and that was all that really mattered, actually. But joking apart, Jeremy was very closely in touch and on the phone, obviously, continually through the day.
We did the job well that day, and it was a special day for me. I love English racing. You know, I trained in California for a while, and it went well for me in California, but missed England immensely, and came back to England really just because I love English racing. I think it's the greatest racing in the world. The two races that my father used to take me to see every year were the King George and Queen Elizabeth and the St Leger, so the most probably sentimentally two races that really stand out in my mind, because I can, you know, remember them from when I was very young and the horses that won them. And but any English classic, you know, I suppose the biggest driving force in my mind of what we do each year. Group 1s, of course, but English classics are special. And to win that first one, you know, just an incredible day, and wish I'd been there. I enjoyed it immensely, even sort of sitting there in Kentucky, but I do wish I'd been there on the day. But it was, you know, a lovely day, and it will be a day I'll remember for the rest of my life.